In this video, we're testing out Phyn Smart Water Sensors. The Phyn Smart Water Sensor is a leak detection device that you can put practically anywhere. This is especially true when paired with some of the accessories which allow the device to detect water in hard-to-reach places like under the washing machine, dishwasher, and refrigerator. Since this is a video on the water sensors, you can call Phyn Plus an accessory to a Phyn Smart Water Sensor, or the water sensor as an accessory to Phyn Plus. But a main takeaway from this video you should know is that Phyn has a water monitor and shutoff system called Phyn Plus. This is a device put inline on the water main, and if you enable auto shutoff with a sensor, when the sensor detects the presence of water, it can relay this information to Phyn Plus, immediately shutting off the water to the house. Having Phyn Plus is not a requirement for using the water sensor, but it is how a leak can be automatically stopped, even if you're nowhere near your phone when an alert comes across. Back to testing. Here we have all the extensions which enhance the capability of the main sensor. In this video, I'm going to try out all the different configurations on 2 sensors. For each scenario, let's see how well they work by timing how long it takes the alarm to go off, how long it takes to get a notification on my phone, and how long it takes Phyn Plus to shut off the water to my house. After sharing the test results, I'm also going to cover some observations and ways to maximize the usefulness of these sensors and extensions. As we saw at the beginning, I have my testing set up right where Phyn Plus is installed outdoors, and it's evening so we can watch the light show. It's taking a little longer for the water to make its way into the fabric covering the sensor cable. That low mechanical sound is Phyn Plus closing the valve so that the water is shut off to the house. It takes about 1 second for the extension node to recognize the presence of water. Phyn Plus turns the water off in about 14 seconds. It takes 2 to 3 seconds for the sensor cable to sense the presence of water and relay the message to Phyn Plus. Phyn Plus turns the water off between 15 to 17 seconds later. For those of you looking at Phyn Plus for the first time, the LED display you see lit up has a 2-minute timeout, and it only comes on manually from pressing the button on the side, which I'm doing when I'm turning the water back on between tests rather than stopping the video recording and using the app to turn the water back on. Since the tests I've run so far have been consistent, I decided to switch up the amount of water on the cables and apply just a few drops of water instead of dunking the cable. It looks like we're just a little under what the first sensor detected. The smaller drops of water are taking a little longer to detect. So the sensors and extension node take about 1 second to detect water, and it takes 13 to 14 seconds to shut off water to the house. On the cable-only test, we're looking at results of 4, 9, and 5 seconds for the alarm, and between 18 and 23 seconds for water shutoff. There's a little more time delay based on how long it takes for a smaller amount of water to make its way into the cable cover. Here's where I made a mistake and forgot to turn the Phyn Plus valve back on. The cable does a great job wicking and absorbing water. It is reusable, but it takes a little while for the cable to dry out. If you plug it back in before it's dry, it will set the sensor off again. If you forget and plug it in and the alarm goes off on the sensor, it will shut off Phyn Plus again. Even if you unplug it quickly, it's too late, the alert is already sent. If you remember just in time before the alarm goes off, the sensor doesn't send the notice across the network. From these results, it looks like it doesn't matter what configuration you have with the sensor or any combination of accessories. They all set off the alarm, Phyn Plus, and phone notifications in a short amount of time. It takes an extra second or 2 for the cable to wick the water to where it's detected, but I'll touch on this more in a minute. After looking at these results, I'm considering maximizing the number of sensors in my home. That's 9 that you can associate with a single Phyn Plus. I shared a workaround in the previous video. Another item to consider is how the sensor and extension node work. The The sensor is only triggered when water connects at least 2 of the metal sensors on the bottom. Just touching one leg isn't enough to complete the circuit and set off the alarm. Likewise, that's how the 2 sensors on the bottom of the extension node work. Placement is really important when it comes to getting the most value out of your sensor and extension node. Place the nodes in the grout line, or a similar place where water has the path of least resistance in order to complete the circuit in the shortest amount of time. If you have to get out a level on flooring to decide which side of an appliance to put an extension node or sensor cable, do it. Now that I've shared my limited testing, here's what may make my results different than your own. The test results may differ based on your network. It's also important to note these devices are not directly connected to each other. They use Amazon Web Services. Another consideration is that when Phyn Plus shuts off the water to the house, water doesn't immediately stop at the leak point. There is still water pressure in the line. Water will still come out at the leak point until pressure is relieved. This isn't something specific to Phyn, it's across all shutoff systems with leak sensors. If you are considering buying quite a few sensors, you can save a little bit and maximize that 9 sensor limit, for example, by putting a sensor under the kitchen sink and extending its detection footprint with some combination of cables and an extension node below the dishwasher next to it. There are some great combinations that can really prevent a lot of water damage. With this in mind, the cable, with its wicking ability, more than doubles the amount of space protected at just over half the cost of another sensor. And it doesn't count against the 9 sensor limit. The sensor with a cable is a really formidable tool against leaks. These sensors paired with Phyn Plus are cheap insurance compared to a full-blown water damage claim. Even though I have Phyn Plus, without the sensors, it takes a while for the algorithm to trigger shutoff. And that's justifiable because the point is to let you live your life uninterrupted and flag unusual events. The usage has to be out of the ordinary. And with Phyn Plus, that doesn't just mean when the water runs longer than normal. A special feature of Phyn Plus is that it also looks for new pressure signatures. All water monitors aren't created equal in this aspect. I know I've shared this in a couple past videos, but this scenario where a new feature was allowed to run 19 gallons while allowing the irrigation to run hundreds of gallons, well, that's still 19 gallons that could have been shut off earlier if there was a sensor in a real leak location. Here's the last test. How loud is the sensor? It's really hard to capture sound on a cell phone, but what I can tell you is that when I step in my front door, I can hear echoing off this hard surface bathroom through 2 hollow core doors. Now put the sensor in a cabinet under the sink and you'll have to be closer to where it's going off. In my opinion, the sensor's strong point is not the sound. The best part of the sensor is pairing it with Phyn Plus and shutting off the water to the house, which buys you some time so that you can address the leak at a later time with minimal water damage. Not just knowing about an event, but having the ability to actually do something about it, which is the perfect point to mention. The link in the description is a discount code, so check it out if you are interested in this system. Now it's your turn. I would love to hear from you. Are there any configurations that I didn't test out that you're curious about? Drop a comment below. I'll either respond or possibly make a follow-on video. If you'd like to know everything else these sensors do, check out last week's video here. Next week's video will be the serial version of the Brady Bunch side-by-side tests, so you can see everything going on in each test. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next week.